group of homeschoolers. Now, my director came to me and she said, hey, you're going to teach these homeschoolers to run a 5K. And I said, great, awesome. And so I did. I went to the homeschoolers and I said, hey, these are the things you shouldn't be doing, and these are the things you should be doing. And for 3 days a week, I trained them. And I helped them grow. Now, when they first started, they could not run at all. I mean, I'm talking these are like first graders, and they would not get anywhere. By the end, they are running an entire 5K. Now, before you think, oh, well, Hunter's a great trainer. No, because I made the poor decision of not running with them. And so when I got to the 5K, my director instructed me that I was actually going to be running with my little recruits. Hunter has not trained at all. So Hunter is getting ready to run this race with all of his little ones, and they all smoked me by miles. I mean, I'm talking, by the time I was done, they were all sitting at the finish line waiting for me. But it was fun because one of them came up to me and said, you know, Hunter, when we first started, I felt like I was never going to be able to do this. I was never going to be able to do what you trained us to do. And I'm thinking, well, I wasn't able to do it. And they said, you know, but that first week, we were able to run about a mile without getting tired. And then that next week, we got 2 miles. And then that last week, we got all 3 miles. And that little kid told me, you know, I wanted it to be instantaneous. I wanted it to be right then and there. But you know, training takes time. Believer, what this passage is telling us is that when we are living and operating in God's grace, we are slowly but surely being transformed into the image of Christ. And there might be days where you come in and you think, man, I want to be so much further in my walk. God's grace is training you, and brothers and sisters, Philippians 1 tells us, he who began a good work in you will bring it to the day of completion. You are free from the sin that binds you. You have been given God's grace and can overcome the sin and temptations in your life. Live according to it. But finally, not only does God's grace give us salvation and train us for transformation, God's grace encourages our anticipation. Paul tells Titus in verse 13, waiting for our blessed hope, the appearing of the glory of our great God and Savior, Jesus Christ, who gave himself up to redeem us from all lawlessness and purify for himself a people for his own possession, who are zealous for good works. Brothers and sisters, we have hope, and his name is Jesus. We have hope that in this present age, though we battle with sin and we have brushes with suffering, we know that those only grow our anticipation to be with Jesus. And I say Jesus because our hope is not found just in some paradise place without Christ. Our hope itself is longing to be with the joy and the treasure of our heart, Christ. Our desire, what propels us into this life of transformation, is that longing for Jesus. Let me ask you, what do you look forward to most in life? What do you look forward to most in life? That is where your hope is found. Your hope is found in whatever it is that you're longing for. For some of us, it might be that successful life. It might be having a nice house. It might be having a nice car, a nice spouse, material possessions, success, love of others, all of these things. We might be looking forward to those things because we believe that those things are going to save us. Now, when you believe something is going to save you, you hope for that thing. And so when we believe that Jesus is where we find our salvation, our longings and our hopes should be focused on him and him alone. Because it was Jesus that purchased you, brothers and sisters. It was Jesus that paid for your penalty. It was Jesus that purifies you and now possesses you. You are no longer sins, but you are Christ. Finally, it is Jesus that has purpose for you.